create this effect, you will need my free paint pack. Link is in the description. This is a super easy effect to create with my free pack, drag and drop, no printing, no ink costs, no painting, super easy. Let's get right into the video. All right, so once you've selected a clip, what you're just gonna wanna do is find a spot where you want the effect to begin. So I want my effect to begin right about here. And so what I'm gonna do is make a cut. And then I'm going to right click on the clip, and then I'm going to click add frame hold. So your clip should look something like this. And so now we can start creating the effect. So I have my ultimate paint pack here. It's for free. Look in the description for the download link. It's totally free, and I have this for you guys, so please go download it if you want to use it or like this effect. So I'm going to go to paint assets here, and I'm going to start kind of creating the effect that I want. So we're going to do this in layers. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for the eye effect. And so here it is right here, and I'm just going to drag the video only. And so I am going to start out with this one here. And so this is going to be my first kind of paint stroke layer. And so I'm going to move 2 frames to the right and begin it. So it's going to stop, and then I'm going to start adding these paint lines here. And so what I'm going to do is just scale it down to fit our subject here. I'm just going to rotate it a bit, position it right there. And so that's going to be our first one. Then I'm just going to duplicate it, the layer, and then I'm going to move 2 frames to the right. And then what I'm going to do is just move this over and put it on the eye, the opposite eye. And so it's looking like this, and then you kind of get the point here, but I'm going to move 2 frames, and then I'm just going to keep adding different things until I find a look that kind of I want. And so I have the mouth here, and so I'm just going to scale this down, scale it down, rotate it a bit. And what you can also do is click this uniform scale, and so you have more of, you know, control over the size of whatever your animation is. So it's something like this so far. And then I'm going to move 2 frames over, and then I'm going to add these wings here. And the wings can get a little complicated just because, you know, naturally wings are behind someone, so you have to do a little bit more for these. And so what I'm going to do here is just position them kind of to what I want. And so I'm going to rotate it a bit, kind of put it right behind him, let it play out, and just kind of see how that is. So I'm going to move it over to the left a bit, something like this, and it's kind of close to his head. So I'm going to undo the uniform scale, and then I'm going to change the width and make it a little bit longer here. And so then I'll play it through. That's kind of what it looks like. And so now that we have the wings here, what we're going to have to do is create a mask over top of the subject. So I'm just going to hold Alt on my keyboard and copy the bottom layer of our clip here. And then we're going to take it into After Effects. So we're going to replace that with After Effects. And here's our clip here. And so when you put it into After Effects, the frame hold sometimes, you know, messes up. So you're just going to want to right click here, go to time, and then freeze frame. And so your clip will now be frozen. And so you're going to want to click the pen tool, and then you are going to want to create a rough mask around your subject. I'm going to do it pretty rough here. It doesn't really matter for the parts where the wings aren't going to be behind. So like the legs, you know, the head, it's not going to be as important, but these shoulders, you kind of want to make sure you get them a little bit more accurate, just because the wings are going to be behind them, and you'll be able to see rougher masks around the shoulders if you don't do a good job. So do something like this, play it through, make sure it's still, go back into Premiere. And so now you can see our wings are behind, but our other layers are still behind that as well. So how we're going to fix this is we are just going to move these layers above, and we're going to move the wing animation below, and then our freeze frame above that, and then just bring these back down, and you get something like that. So I'm going to add a couple more kind of animations in here. I'm going to speed through it, and then once I finish the animation, that's when I'm going to show you what to do next. Alright, so now that our animation is done, this is kind of what I came up with here. And so once this is done, what we're going to do is go to the paper textures that are in there. If you want more paper textures, I have a paper texture pack on my website as well, but there's a couple ones that are for free that are added into the paint pack that are for free. So I'm going to do the paper texture 2 here, and I'm just going to hover that over. And so once that's on, it's a little grainy, so just go to the effects control and then click linear dodge add, and you'll get something like this. So this is what our effect looks like now. What we want to do is add some kind of effects and stuff to kind of sell more of the effect and make sure we match kind of the music and everything of the song. So what we're going to do here is you're going to click on the After Effects layer here, right click, and then you're going to want to go to render and replace. When you're doing this, I like to have it QuickTime, and then the preset here, you're going to want to make sure you choose one with alpha, and that's so that it just kind of renders out our mask rather than a black layer behind our mask. So you should play that through, and this is what we have here. So I'm just going to select all of them and then just kind of nest it. So once this is done, what we're going to do is we are going to take this into After Effects. So just right click and click replace with After Effects. Then we are going to hop in After Effects. And like I said before, some reason that the add frame hold and stuff kind of messes up when you put it into After Effects. So an easy way to fix that is just double click and then go to your nested layer down here, and then just click time and freeze frame. And so now you can see that it is still. So we have this here. What we're going to do is we're going to just add a little shake to kind of sell the effect. There's multiple different shakes you could do. If you want, you could kind of mess around with just the transform and everything, but I'm going to use Sapphire Shake here. If you want, you could always use Shake Sauce. I've used that a couple times before. It is a very good plugin. So I chose the wrong shake here. We're going to use this one here. And you should get something like this, and this is obviously way too much, so I just go to motion blur here, change the amplitude down, change the frequency until something that you kind of like. This will work perfectly. And so another thing I'm going to do is add a flicker, especially because the clips before, I'll show you here, it's kind of flickering here, so I'm going to match that flicker with something in After Effects. So I'm just going to scroll down, and I have Sapphire Flicker. You could just go to the exposure and just kind of mess around with the exposure and all of that to create your own kind of flicker. And so I'm just going to up the amplitude here just to make it more apparent. Something like that is perfect. So now we have something like this. And so we still want to add a little more to that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to render and replace. For this one, you don't need to do alpha. You can just do ProRes or whatever kind of render you want to create. So this might take a minute. I'm going to get back to you when this is finished. All right, so now that's done, we can just play that through real quick. And it looks pretty good already, but there's a couple things you can do. So what you can do is just go to the motion here and then just add some kind of slow zoom and just kind of scale it to where you want it to zoom into. And so it adds a little more motion to it as well. And so I'm not going to keep this as long. So the animation kind of ends like right here. And so I'll go a little bit after and just kind of take it down there. So something like that. And so now that this is rendered, what I'm going to do is move 2 frames, or I'm going to move 4 frames to the left. And then I'm also going to move 4 frames to the right. And then I'm going to nest these here. And then just right click and replace with After Effects Comp. So this is where you can get creative too. I'm just going to add a little effect here just to kind of transition that. And so I'll find the middle point, move 2 frames back, and then I have a Twitch. I'm going to use Twitch exposure here, which I use a lot. If I know I get questions a lot about where to find Twitch and all this stuff, it is a plugin, a Copilot plugin that you have to buy. If you guys want me to kind of create a simplified one for all of you guys, let me know and I can definitely do that. But it's just a Twitch and then an exposure here, and so that's what it looks like, and it will kind of sell the effect a little more. And so that's what the effect looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you still haven't gotten the paint pack, go get it on my website. The link will be in the description. It's completely free, so go get it. You might as well and create some of these cool effects.